right, we are back on. Let me pull up my, there it is. All right. This has been a hefty study thus far. All right, so we left off on the end of 14. And it says that verse 5. Okay, so verse 5 of chapter 14. And it was made manifest both that the tale of their sins should be completed in their sins, and that we through the Mashiach, who inherits the covenant, should receive it. For he was prepared for this purpose, that when he appeared, he might redeem our hearts from darkness, which were already paid over to death, and given over to the iniquity of error, by his word might make a covenant with us. Okay, so by his covenant, make it with us. For it is written that the Father prescribes on him that he should redeem us from darkness and prepare a holy people for himself. So is that why he said to make sure your flight isn't in the winter on the Sabbath day, paraphrase the Son's return? That could be a very, very good connection there. That could be a very good connection. I always wondered a little bit more about that one too. But you do have to remember too, like in the times that he's returning, it's going to mention here. So we'll get to chapter 15 in like a few minutes. It's going to make even more sense too. That might not actually be like the case with that, but the sun and the moon and stuff is going to be changed, right? So it's going to already be changed by in the time of the sinners. It's already going to be changed by the man of lawlessness. And we are going to have to understand what the times are when that happens. So you're going to see that, obviously, in the time of the Mashiach's arrival, the luminaries change as well, right? So it's all super connected. Like I said, this has been a hefty study. And this is not even, like, all of it. Like, even after we finish this is not even... It's so deep that it's crazy. Like, it's just, but it's beautiful because we're getting it now. For those who, want to listen to it or whatever, or who get it, but it's getting ready to talk about the calendar, actually. So, let me keep going. So it says, for verse 6 of chapter 14, for it is written that the Father prescribes on him that he should redeem us from the darkness and prepare a holy people for himself, his first fruits. The prophet therefore says, I, the Mashiach, called you in righteousness, and I will hold your hands, or the Son, I will hold your hands, and I will give you strength, and I will give, and I have given you for a covenant of the people, and for a light to the nations, to open the eyes of the blind, and to bring forth from their chains those that are bound, and those that sit in darkness out of the prison house. So either the Father could be literally speaking to the Son, but at the same time we understand, like, based off of what we've already been seeing, what we understand, and that has also been misconstrued, the Son he's our full leader. Like Michael is the leader over Israel, right, in the sense of the chief angel, and he has a specific job that is according to our salvation, and like what he does in the heavens and things like that, as the other angels and things of that nature. But we're talking about literally a people that is the Father chose, and that is the direct first fruits of the Son, of his Son. whom he made everything through. That he literally made with great labor. Second Esther chapter 9, with great labor have I made you. I've chosen a grape out of the cluster. Let the multitude perish then. And so we're talking about the culmination of the times, y'all, of what all this is literally ending with, and what we're about to see, what we're about to go into. Okay, so let me continue. We know then from where we have been redeemed. Verse 8, again, the prophet says, behold, I have made you a light for the nations, to be salvation to the ends of the earth. Thus says the Most High, who redeemed you, or the Son who redeemed you. And again, the prophet says, the Spirit of the Most High is on me, or the Spirit of the Father is on me, because he anointed me to preach the good news of the grace to the humble. He sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim delivery to the captives, and sight to the blind, and announce a year acceptable to the Lord, and a day of repayment, to comfort all who mourn. A day of repayment. Okay, so this is so key. But now we get into chapter 15. Hope y'all are ready for this. Oh, I'm like, what is that? There was something on this box. So now we get to chapter 15. So we literally have just this chapter, and we have a few other connections to draw, and then we'll be done. And it sounds like that's like 15 minutes, huh? Chapter 15. So it says, furthermore, it was written concerning the Sabbath. Remember, the Sabbath means to cease. It is the festival and the holiest days of all. It is the seventh day. It is literally connected to the Son of the Father. The Father is obviously connected through it all. Okay? So listen to this. Furthermore, it was written concerning the Sabbath in the 10 words which he spoke on Mount Sinai face to face with Moses. Sanctify also the Sabbath of the Most High with pure hands and a pure heart. We read that, right? We talked about the sacrifices. We talked about the fasting. And in another place he says, if my son keeps the Sabbath, then I will bestow my mercy on them. He speaks of the Sabbath at the beginning of the creation. And the Most High made in 6 days the works of his hands, and on the seventh day he made an end and rested in it and sanctified it. He sanctified it, not because he was finished with his works, you guys. The angels were literally celebrating this festival in the heavens, that we are literally, every time we celebrate the Shabbat, we are celebrating with them. Let's continue. Notice, children, what is the meaning of he made an end in 6 days? He means this, that the Most High will make an end of everything in 6,000 years. For a day with him means 1,000 years. And he himself is my witness when he says, behold, the day of the sun will be as 1,000 years. Again, the Father, or you could say the Son, will make an end of everything in 6,000 years. For a day with him means 1,000 years. And he himself is my witness when he says, behold, the day of the sun will be as 1,000 years. So then, children, in 6 days, that is, in 6,000 years, everything will be completed. And he rested on the seventh day. This means when his Son comes, he will destroy the time of the wicked one, and will judge the godless, and will change the sun and the moon and the stars, and then he will truly rest on the seventh day. So the day he gets here equals 1,000 years. Everything finishes in 6,000 years. And when he gets here, it equates to 7,000, or the seventh day. And he will truly rest. We don't ever think about, we just think about as Sabbath was made for man. Absolutely. But the angels are still celebrating it. The angels are still observing it. It's connected directly to the sun. And earlier in the other chapters, he's already told us that he does not bear our new moons and our Shabbats. He's not saying it as a man would say it. You know why? We're going to continue so you can hear this. Verse 6, furthermore, he says, you will sanctify it with clean hands and a pure heart. If then anyone has at present the power to keep holy the day which the Most High made holy, by being pure in heart, we are altogether deceived. Again, if then anyone has at the present power to keep holy the day which the Most High made holy, by being pure in heart, we are altogether deceived. See that we will indeed keep it holy at that time when we enjoy true cessation, true rest. When we will be able to do so because we have been made righteous ourselves and have received the promise. When there is no more sin. But all things have been made new by the Mashiach. Then we will be able to keep it holy because we ourselves have first been made holy. Furthermore, he says to them, your new moons and the Shabbats I cannot bear with. Do you see what he means? The present Sabbaths are not acceptable to me. But that which I have made, in which I will give rest to all things and make the beginning of an 8th day. That is the beginning of another world. For what reason we also celebrate with gladness the 8th day in which the Mashiach also rose from the dead and was made manifest and ascended into heaven. So, 6,000 years. If you go do some research, we are already in the 5,000 something year. It might even already be 5,800 or something like that. I posted some research on that. I'll do it again, or if you need it, or you just find it yourself. By a lot of calculations, even with the Jubilee, some people have tried to do the Jubilee stuff. It's really difficult. Not everybody is on the same one accord with everything because nothing is super, super perfect. Right? So we are in the times that the 6,000 year is approaching. This is the interesting thing about it. In Jubilees chapter 3, literally on the 7th, literally on the day where literally it was supposed to be completed for 7 years that Adam and Eve was in the garden and they weren't sinning, on literally what was happening on that 7th day, Matsima came, or the angel, whatever angel specifically, through Matsima, made them sin, or provoked them to sin. They never made it to the 7th year. They never made it to the 7th day. When was man created, you guys? What day? What day? I'll go ahead and just put it in the study just so I can read it. Just from Genesis chapter 1. Verse 26. Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish, etc. Bless them, be fruitful and increase in number. He made it all, and there was morning, evening, and morning, the sixth day. Man, this was designed through the covenant, because man could not bring themselves to the seventh day. The Son, even when you go read in the life of Adam and Eve, when you see that literally in the same chapter here, in Genesis chapter 3, it says the Most High, or you could literally see it's the Son, was walking in the garden. In the life of Adam and Eve, in these different books, you will literally also see more personification of a figure literally walking, literally interacting with them. Not that the Father was never there, obviously, he's always there, but it's different portions of him speaking through his voice or the power or whatever it may be, but a lot of the figure, the appearances, the portion where it's a physical attribution, the Son is there. He's right there. Man could never take themselves into the seventh day because the Son was there, is our portion. And you understand that the seventh Shabbat, it literally means to cease. The Son has not rested. He has not brought things to completion yet. He will finally rest his feet and put everything under his feet when he gets here on the seventh day. Psalm 110:1. Matthew 22:44. Matthew 26:64. Ephesians 1:22-23. 1 Corinthians 15:22-28. Literally, in order for us to get to the Father on the eighth day, when all things are fully complete, you have to get through the Son. If you do not know the Son, you cannot get to the eighth day, because by knowing him, you know the Father. He came in his Father's name. Absolutely, he's a representation, but he's our King. That doesn't disclude the Father from who he is as the great glory above all, in all, as Almighty. But he is our champion. He is our Ishi. He is who's coming and coming back. So if you don't know him, why does it make sense where it says in the parables of the 10 virgins that the foolish virgins who thought it was just all about the Father, let's just say, and not about the Son, didn't have enough oil in their vessels? But the wise virgins did and knew what all this was about. Why do you think the wheats and the tares grow together until the sun returns and burns the tares? The festival of first fruits and Shavuot is directly connected to the wheat harvest. I can even put the harvest, like the feast stuff in it, because it's so much. But it's the sun is coming on the seventh day. We have to make it. If we don't, we miss out literally on the eighth day, because he brings the 1,000-year reign into the eighth day. And guess what? Just as his Father gave him everything, the Son is giving his first fruits of everything to his Father. You really think that he's just going to redeem us and just give us to the Father incomplete just because we have our heavenly body? No. He still has to spend 1,000 years here to fully make sure it's all pruned and perfect. And you notice at the end of the 1,000 years, what happens? People rebel immediately as he lets Satan come out of the pit. His threshing floor is not like ours. His threshing floor separates and sieves and separates and sieves and separates and sieves so meticulously past human thought. This is no joke. Like, so going back, when he returns, we will fully keep the seventh day fully in its perfection. We can't keep it perfect right now. But what did Barnabas say? He said we should still be looking into the ordinances and trying to follow as best as we can. But knowing and having a longing for the Son every Shabbat. Every feast day is connected to him. I had a dream, literally, in studying the luminaries, in the midst of it, and I had a dream. He said, literally, in clear as day, his voice, everything is about the eighth day. I heard him so clear, and it made so much sense. And then I ended up finding this like a little bit later. But literally, he says, the new moons, your new moons and your Sabbats I cannot bear with. But you know what's interesting about this? Like I said, he's not saying it as a man. Guess what he still says to us? Matthew 11. Guess what he still says? Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Still gives us rest while he has not rested. And then, of course, you have the infamous Hebrews chapter 4 misconstrued connection for people to say that, well, no, it's not to say we're not supposed to keep the Shabbat. So now, guess what? Watch this understanding grow. Hebrews chapter 4 says, therefore, while the promise of entering his rest still stands, let us fear lest any of us should seem to have failed to reach it. For good news came to us just as to them, but the message they heard did not benefit them, because they were not united by faith with those who listened. For we who have believed enter that rest, as he has said, as I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest, although his works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he has somewhere spoken on the seventh day in this way, and the Most High rested on the seventh day from all his works. And again in this passage he said, they shall not enter my rest. Since therefore it remains for some to enter it, and those who formerly received the good news failed to enter because of disobedience. And again he appoints a certain day, today, saying through David so long afterwards, in the words already quoted, today if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. If Joshua had given them rest, the Most High would have spoken of another day later on. Because remember, Joshua ended up bringing them to the land, but they never truly rested. So then there remains a Sabbath rest for the people of the Most High, of the Son. For whoever has entered the Son's rest has also rested from his works, as the Son did from his, or as the Father and the Son did from theirs. Let us therefore strive to enter that rest, to strive to make it to the seventh day. To strive to make it to the seventh day so he can bring us into the eighth. So that no one may fall by the same sort of disobedience. You guys, so connected to what we've already literally been talking about. For the word of the Most High is living. The word of the Father, the Son, is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And no creature is hidden from his sight, but all are naked and exposed to the eyes of him whom we must give account. So then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, the Mashiach, the Son of the Father. Let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us then, with confidence, draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. Doesn't that make more sense now? So doesn't this also make more sense? Colossians 2, 6 through 23, where Paul was saying, don't let anyone judge you. Don't let anyone judge you. Give me 1 second. Oops. Not Colossians 6, y'all. Why did I put Colossians 6? Oh, Colossians 2. Colossians 2. It says, therefore, as you receive the Mashiach, so walk in him, rooted and built up in him, and established in the faith, just as you were taught, abounding in thanksgiving. See to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy or empty deceit according to human tradition. This is the ascension of Isaiah, where it talks about, and as he's coming, these things are going to continue to come out. According to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Christ. For in him the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily. In him. 7. Whole, complete. And you have been filled in him, who is the head of all rule and authority. In him also you were circumcised, with a circumcision made without hands, by putting off the body of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ, and having been buried with him in baptism, in which you were also raised with him through faith in the powerful working of the Father, who raised him from the dead, the incision into your heart, his Torah. Also, all these other connections, resurrection, all that. And in Epistle of Barnabas, he literally says that this is for what reason we also celebrate with gladness the 8th day, in which the Mashiach also rose from the dead and was made manifest and ascended to heaven. So it makes sense. The Mashiach would rise from the dead on the 8th day, because he himself is complete in the Father. But we are not yet. So notice, later on he says, therefore let no one pass judgment on you in questions of food and drink, or with regard to a festival, or a new moon, or a Sabbath. These are a shadow of the things to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. Let no one disqualify you, insisting on asceticism and worship of angels, going on in detail about visions, puffed up without reason by a sensuous mind, and not holding fast to the head, whom is the Christ, from whom the whole body, nourished, knit together through its joints and ligaments, grows with the growth that is from the Father. So it talks about these little rules and little things like that. But does that mean that Barnabas literally throws out anything about the ordinances that we should still pursue to learn and grow in? Absolutely not. He still says you should still find out. You should still understand. But doing so, understand what this is all about. The luminaries are not about just following what Israel did, because you follow in the same footsteps as putting a yoke of necessity, how they did it without the wisdom and the right heart. Observing the Shabbat is not just about observing it every single 7th day and being like, "Ooh, I don't eat, I don't do, I don't go out here, or I don't drive, I don't buy or sell." It's not just about that. It's a representation of the Son returning on the 7th day, to where he's going to take us into the 8th if we make it. The fact that we can't even keep the Shabbat fully in its perfection, that he's the only one who can do so. But he still gives us grace and mercy for us to still celebrate and take part in his rest as he gives us. Even if you aren't on the specific perfect day that nobody truly has. The ways that people have put together calendars over the amount of years have always missed massive portions of things, and there's no perfect calendar. But also, if you're looking into the ordinances of all of this, understanding what it's all about, even if you say it's all about light, you dismiss the darkness of what this all is about, and how it says in Enoch, the ways, the ordinance, or the movement and the way that the moon works is basically sin to the sinners because of how they look at the moon. They want to literally disregard how it literally has worked for thousands of years. So that, yes, that includes, there's never been a full moon as the first day of the month. Never. So by looking into that and understanding this whole connection of how this is, from darkness, the Most High has brought us out, and to see how Israel got taken out of darkness by the light himself, and they literally ran straight into darkness, but he still painted everything and still brought everything to his connections to still take us out of the darkness. The beauty beyond which we can truly fathom is like connected to this Shabbat. You see why, like, I was overwhelmed in a good way, because I'm like, how do I even put this together? Because it's not even done. But all these things are a shadow of things to come. Your new moons and Sabbaths I cannot bear with. That which I have made, I will give. The present Sabbaths are not acceptable to me, but that which I have made and which I will give rest to all things, make the beginning of an 8th day, that is the beginning of another world. For what reason we also celebrate with gladness. Same thing, you celebrate gladness with the festival for the Shabbat. So that's not, when we do our next study, I'm going to recap this all together, because I think I'm just going to end on here, because this is really something to wrap your mind against. There's some other portions I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to add on there too. There's some way other portions that connect to this. This is even before the feast portion. But the next chapter of Epistle of Barnabas, which I encourage you guys to read, chapter 16, it talks about a temple, and it talks about the spiritual temple that he's built in us. So it's so much more connections that we'll draw for the next time, but I'm just gonna go ahead and end on this one, just to allow the time for the connections to draw from the first part of this first part of the study, which we'll call just 1.1, and this is like 1.1 part 2, I guess. But yeah. So this was not easy, y'all, like, to put this together, but I'm enjoying it. Like I said, the luminary study has to come right after this, so I have to pray on it, see what the Most High wants, and see if this is supposed to be like I don't know how many parts it's supposed to be. I'm pretty sure it's one more or it's two. I have no idea yet, but I'll figure it out and let you guys know. But we are in the times, y'all. This is no joke. But keep studying, keep finding more information on this stuff. Hopefully this all has put something in you to really see more than what you may see, or just truly like how important these times are. And we're not even done yet. Really just seeing everything. So I pray that I was able to excite you in your spirit, propel you to really push forward, to really keep growing in him. And I'll go ahead and pray out. Dear Abba, We thank you for your word. Thank you for your son. We thank you for your Ruach. Thank you for things that you've blessed us to have and be able to enjoy, and just the things that you've done with all of us, and this whole walk that you have designed. We can't thank you enough, and it's just truly just thank you just for everything. It's just beyond words, and from my end, just can't thank you enough. I ask that my brothers and sisters receive this in their heart, receive this in their spirit, that it helps them continue to grow forward and move forward, Abba. But I just thank you and just love you, and I just ask that you continue to provide information and understanding with these studies. And just we just give you all the praise, all the glory, all the honor in the name of your son, Mashiach. Yasha, we pray. Amen. Amen. And that is it, y'all. I spent a lot of time today. I gotta go help the wifey with the kids. Hope they've been good. But I appreciate y'all, and I'm pretty sure I'll be talking to you guys in part on the DMs. Any more questions, all that cool stuff, you can always message me. And yeah, I'll announce the next study. All right, y'all.